Today's third video for you is first news story is from Somalia. Newly elected president of Somalia is visiting United Arab Emirates, the UAE, his first official visit. From the UAE, he could land in Nairobi, Kenya. A new era of Somalia-Kenya friendly ties is about to start. Second news story is from Ethiopia-Djibouti border, Afar-Djibouti border. According to some Afar news sources, tensions are increasing on Djibouti-Afar border. Djibouti soldiers are involved in damaging electricity transmission lines in Afar on Afar side of Afar Djibouti border. Three places are being mentioned where electricity transmission lines are being damaged by Djibouti soldiers at night. A third news story is from Wellega, where hundreds of innocent Amhara ethnic group members have been killed. US State Department spoke about Wellega just an hour ago. Fourthly, EU's top diplomat commissioner for crisis management and humanitarian aid landed in Tigray's capital, Mekelle. He visited Mekelle's either referral hospital too. And lastly, viewers, Tigray External Affairs Bureau today a list of 7 demands. Tigray External Affairs Bureau says that if these 7 demands are met, situation in Tigray can improve. We'll have a look at these 7 demands one by one. Firstly, viewers, it seems that a new era of Somalia-Kenya friendly ties is about to start. It has kicked off, in fact. We know that when Abdullahi Farmajo, former president, was in power in Somalia, Kenya-Somalia relations remained frosty. At one time, Somalia cut off diplomatic ties with Kenya. Somalia recalled its ambassador to Kenya. Then we saw an International Court of Justice verdict about Somalia-Kenya maritime dispute. The verdict could not be implemented. Somalia accused Kenya of interfering in Jubaland, of backing Jubaland president against federal government, of interfering in Somalia's internal politics. But things have changed now, viewers. Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, newly elected president of Somalia, visited UAE, United Arab Emirates on Sunday. He has finished his visit of UAE. In coming hours, reportedly, he could arrive in Nairobi, Kenya. Uhuru Kenyatta, Kenyan president, invited Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud to visit Kenya. So in coming hours, we could see Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud in Kenya. Kenya wants resumption of imports, khat imports to Somalia. Khat is a narcotic plant grown in Kenya, and 2 years ago Farmajo government banned khat imports from Kenya. Kenya has been pressing Somalia's government to lift ban on khat imports. And secondly, now we know that new Prime Minister who was selected by President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud a few days ago, he's from Jubaland, and reportedly he has a Kenyan passport as well. And Jubaland-Kenya ties have been very friendly for years. It means that Kenya will now have a say, influence in Somalia. We could see Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud arrive in Kenya in coming hours. Will Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud government lift ban on khat imports from Kenya? And will Hassan Sheikh's government press Kenya or some international body for implementation of the decision of International Court of Justice about Kenya, Somalia maritime dispute? That it seems that the two countries are going to start a new era of friendly ties. A second news story is from Djibouti, a far border. We know that in Djibouti, in recent days, several Afar neighborhoods have been attacked, especially in Djibouti city. Several houses were set on fire. In previous video, shared with you news of an Afar civilian who reportedly died in police custody. He was arrested more than a month ago. Tensions between Afars living in Djibouti and Somali Isa locals. Now, this tension is spreading towards border areas to three places on Djibouti Afar border are being mentioned where tensions are rising. We could see clashes. Why is that tension rising there? According to some locals of the area, Djibouti soldiers at night cut off and damage electricity transmission lines in Afar on Afar Djibouti border. It has been happening for some days. The three places are Garani, Obno, and Gobad. So in Gobad, there is this escalation. Locals are angry. Locals say that at night, hundreds of Djibouti soldiers, they enter Afar and they damage these electricity transmission lines. That is why long power cuts are being faced by the people living in these areas. It could be a reaction of what is happening in Djibouti, where tensions are still there between Afars and Somali Isas. We have seen fighting between Somalis and Afars in Ethiopia as well, in border areas. Then the clashes spread into Djibouti and now on Djibouti-Afar border. Thirdly, viewers, Wellega, US State Department spoke about the massacre of innocent Amhara ethnic group members in Wellega. Hundreds have been killed in Wellega in an unprovoked attack. Civilians have been targeted. Women, children, elderly have been killed. And they were not fighters. International news sources, international news outlets, human rights organizations, they have confirmed this massacre which was committed in Wellega Oromia. US State Department in a statement said that it is gravely concerned at the killing of the members of Amhara ethnic group. It is urging Ethiopian government to hold those accountable who are behind this massacre, and it is asking the government to move towards national reconciliation and dialogue to put an end to armed conflicts in Ethiopia. Now, firstly, this Wellega incident, it is being covered by all international news outlets. Human rights organizations are speaking about it. PM Abiy's government has been selling this narrative in recent days that the country is on its way towards peace and stability, that national dialogue has started, that truce has been announced. Now, this incident is a blow, I think, to PM Abiy's narrative, international narrative. Now, the world will challenge PM Abiy's government that despite your national dialogue, your truce situation on the ground is not changing. National dialogue has been rejected by opposition parties, by major groups in Ethiopia. It will not deliver. It can only deliver if the players in Ethiopia are part of it. If you keep TPLF, OLA, OFC, OLF, ONLF, Balderas, all out of this dialogue, it will not produce any results. So Ethiopian government will have to restructure national dialogue if it wants a real peace in Ethiopia. Fourthly, viewers, EU diplomat, top EU official arrived in Tigray a few hours ago. Yesterday, we reported about this visit. Janis Linarčič is EU's Commissioner for Crisis Management and Humanitarian Aid, and he arrived in Ethiopia around 24 hours ago. He visited Somali region, and today he arrived in Mekelle. A short statement has been issued through Geta Chorada Tigray presidential spokesperson. Tigray government says that the President Mekelle Tigray president received Janis Linarčič, and discussions were constructive. Mutual issues of mutual concern were raised, and Janis Linarčič visited Mekelle's Eider Referral Hospital too. So it's a good thing that EU can see for itself what is humanitarian situation in Tigray, how are Tigray's hospitals working. I think either Ref Hospital Mekelle, it has suspended its operation because of lack of fuel, lack of medicines. EU has not resumed financial aid to Ethiopia so far, despite Ethiopian government's efforts for resumption of financial aid to Ethiopian government. And EU representative, EU official was allowed to travel to Tigray. It's a good development that Ethiopian government is allowing international officials to visit Tigray. I think international media should also be allowed to enter Tigray, to cover Tigray, to cover the plight of the people of Tigray, and to challenge the narratives being shared by both Tigray government and Ethiopian federal government. Lastly, viewers, Tigray External Affairs Bureau has shared a list of 7 demands. Tigray External Affairs Bureau says that for humanitarian situation improvement, these 7 demands must be met. What are the 7 demands? We'll have a look at these 7 points. Firstly, Tigray says that unfettered, timely and regular delivery of aid to Tigray should be ensured. Aid is arriving, but it's not sufficient. It should arrive on regular basis, and it should be sufficient with the people of Tigray. Secondly, provision of fertilizers, seeds and agrochemicals. Yesterday, EU Council also hinted at this point. EU Council said that Ethiopian government should ensure delivery of fertilizers and seeds to Tigray government as it's farming season these days. So if there is no fertilizer, no seeds in Tigray in farming season, it means that people will face hunger in coming months too. Third point is sufficient fuel. Very important point. We have discussed that in previous videos, that aid is lying in Mekelle. It could not be distributed because there is no fuel. Fourthly, restoration of basic services, electricity, banking, telecommunication services, etc. Fifthly, withdrawal of all invading forces. This is a point of contention because Tigray says all regional forces, federal forces, ENDF, Eritrean should leave, including from the areas to the west, Humra, Volkai, Sagade, Western Tigray. But Amhara region claims the ownership of Western Tigray. Stumbling block. Point number 6. Tigray wants Eritrea to be held accountable for human rights abuses in Ethiopia. Interestingly, why is that Tigray just singling out Eritrea? Were all human rights abuses in Tigray committed by Eritreans? Why is that Tigray is just only calling for accountability of Eritrean soldiers? Why not ENDF and Amhara soldiers too? And lastly, release of all Tigrayans who are in detention. Yes, we know that thousands of Tigrayans are still in detention in in some parts of Western Tigray and perhaps other parts of Ethiopia too. So these 7 demands have been shared by Tigray External Affairs Bureau that they should be met for improvement of humanitarian situation in Tigray and for making progress towards peaceful solution to this conflict. Thank you for watching.